Hello celestial beings, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Celeste Simone, and here on my channel I offer spiritual guidance to empower my celestial beings and heart-centered energy healing to help you align with your higher self. So if that is something that you are interested in, please consider hitting that subscribe button and joining our family of celestial beings. So today's video is going to be an informative video about my 6 tips to reading tarot cards intuitively. So if you are looking to improve your tarot reading skills by incorporating your intuition into your readings, then this video is going to be helpful to you. Let's start first with my definition of what it means to read tarot and oracle cards intuitively. When I use the term intuition, I'm referring to that gut feeling that comes from your higher self. We are all connected to the divine through our upper crown chakra, through our third eye chakra. When we open ourselves up to this information, we are able to tune ourselves into the collective consciousness that connects us to the wisdom of spirit, source energy, God, goddess, the universe, whatever you want to refer to it as. So reading the tarot cards individually is possible, and you most likely still will receive a pretty accurate reading from doing it this way. There definitely will be some concrete messages that can point you in a positive direction if you memorize the meaning of the cards and then just read those. And that is because each of the cards have such a layered meaning, both in a literal and a spiritual sense, that a person could determine the meaning of the cards simply by memorizing those meanings and then connecting them together in a spread. However, if you really want to tap into deeper messages, expand your psychic abilities, and tune into the energy around you, then the tarot cards can be a great tool to help you learn how to trust in your intuition and the guidance that you receive from your higher self. You actually don't need the tarot to tune into someone else's energy or into your psychic gifts, but your tarot cards can ground psychic messages into the tangible world by appearing alongside your inner awareness. The tarot also teaches us about the spiritual journey and what lessons we are learning alongside human experiences. This is where the major and the minor arcana meet in a reading. This connection is why getting good at reading tarot intuitively also takes a commitment to your own spiritual journey, self-care, and self-awareness. This can be the difference between a tarot reading that offers the obvious messages and strings them together versus one that can provide transformative guidance and see beyond just the face value of what the reading is saying. You don't have to learn or memorize the definitions to each one of the cards in order to provide an accurate reading for someone. I do believe that it is possible to solely use your intuitive guidance and your psychic abilities if you feel confident in doing that. But I do feel that it is an important part of learning the skill of tarot reading to understand the intended meanings behind each of the cards, because understanding the Fool's journey, symbolism, and story behind the tarot can help to deepen your connection with the history of the cards and their layered past. These are my feelings and thoughts about reading tarot intuitively. Feel free to share your own thoughts down in the comments below, but let's dive into my tips next. So how do you use your intuition to read the tarot? My first tip is going to be set the intention. The first step to every spiritual practice is to set an intention for your reading, for your spell, for your meditation, whatever it's going to be. Setting the intention is the first step, and it is one of the most important steps. This could mean using a tarot cloth to read on, keeping a crystal nearby for protection, speaking your desired results into existence, asking a question out loud or writing it down on a piece of paper, lighting a candle, ringing a singing bowl, or a combination of all of these things. I like to set intentions while lighting incense. I'll ring a singing bowl sometimes to clear the energy of the room. I also use a specific tarot cloth to read on, and I will envision my goals and intentions for the reading before I begin. If you feel confident in your routine, there's no reason to change it. But ultimately, what I feel is that it's always good to have a respect for your spiritual practices, not just for effective results, but also for your own protection. Using the tarot cards means you are going to open yourself up to other energies, and this could mean you are making yourself vulnerable. Since you are also asking for answers from higher sources, you want to have a clear intention of who you intend to receive those messages from, even if that means receiving them from your higher self, or it could be from source or spirit itself. I find that the tarot cards have a personality all of their own, and this could change depending on the deck that you're using. And I do find that they're not going to cooperate if you're not taking your practice seriously. You also don't want to bring any energy from the day to your cards. If you aren't in a good headspace, I would definitely recommend waiting until you are, because trying to read the tarot cards intuitively and objectively is going to be difficult if you are kind of carrying some heavy energy or carrying the weight of a difficult day with you when you start to shuffle and when you try to then tap into your intuition and read the cards. The messages may not flow clearly and the energy may be blocked, or you might receive inaccurate messages. So tip number 2 is going to be recognize your intuition. When you lay out the cards in front of you, you may first start to be drawn into different images on the cards. They may also spark certain emotions within you. In order to use your intuition and psychic abilities, it's going to require you to become very aware of your intuition and when it's talking to you. The tarot cards can help you actually grow this ability and improve it and practice it, because the more you practice and track the results of your tarot readings, the more you are able to identify what messages were actually your intuition and not just a guess or a mental thought. Remember, your intuition guides you from beyond your own thoughts and opinions of the situation, and you can start to strengthen your intuition by becoming very present and very aware in your own body. This practice is improved by meditation and holding space or other similar activities like yoga, breath work, and energy healing. You begin to sense the energy around you the more present that you are. You notice slight changes in your awareness. You pick up on other people's energy more, or you can sense when there is a presence in the room. Having confidence in these abilities really starts with your own spiritual practices. If you aren't sure where to start, you can actually try remembering the last time you did have a strong intuitive or psychic experience, and try to remember what it felt like, what clued you into that message or guidance that came through. Whether or not you trusted it right away, you probably figured out soon enough that that feeling, that vision that you had, that whatever that experience is, was something that stood out to you. Maybe it was a gut feeling, maybe you got chills all over your body, maybe you just had an inner knowing, or you maybe even heard a voice that gave you a specific message or dream. This is really an important part of your practice, because the more you can give attention to this inner guidance and shine a light on that inner voice, the stronger and stronger it's going to get. Step 2 to this is going to be fine-tuning that awareness and fine-tuning your gifts. As I mentioned, tarot can actually really help in this area because it's a great way to practice. The more you read your cards, the more you can practice this ability of being quiet, listening, creating space, and then trusting in that guidance. And you'll find that your tarot cards are really good teachers in that sense. So number 3 for my 6 tips is going to be create a story. For many of you, using your intuition to read tarot is going to involve using the cards to create a story that offers cohesive guidance. This means pulling together each of the individual cards to create one connected meaning. This does take practice, but there's definitely ways and methods to make it a bit easier. First, start by laying out the cards. Having a particular spread isn't necessary, and it probably doesn't resonate with everybody, but sometimes it can offer a more detailed message while you're still learning to use your intuition. Whether you're using a spread or not, the first step would be to look at all of the cards as a whole. Notice how they make you feel. Do you get any initial general impressions from the cards? For example, do the cards make you feel nervous, happy, excited, confused, worried? Just tuning into your feelings and letting go of any expectations is an important part of creating the story. Next, you might look at each card or whichever card draws you in first. If you know the meaning of the card, you can start by just going through each of them individually. Even if you are by yourself, I would recommend speaking the meanings of the cards out loud. This actually starts an energetic flow that can help you to start a momentum of the meanings kind of coming through you. When you get to the last card, you can start to see the connections. Maybe your gaze is drawn back to another card, and just imagine that all the cards want to tell you their story and are eager for you to understand. If you feel like you're missing something, ask the cards directly what they want you to know. Or you can ask them, am I missing anything? If you are drawn into an area of the card, just go with it. This can take some practice, especially when you are reading for others. But again, the more you recognize your intuition stepping in, the easier it will be to trust in the message that's coming through. Creating the story can also come from a memory popping up in your mind. Sometimes I will see a meaning behind the reading because my intuition will show me a similar situation that happened to me. And then in an instant, the whole story will play out in my mind, and suddenly I understand the message to relay or the connection that the cards are trying to make. Knowing the individual meanings of the cards is also going to help you put the story together. For example, court cards might represent the people in the situation and their dynamic or the energy that they're bringing to the situation. The cups are going to be emotion, pentacles are going to represent the tangible world, wands, growth and ambition, swords could be communication or conflicts, etc. These bigger meanings can connect the cards together, and when your intuition steps in, it can appear as images, sounds, inner knowing, smells, or any one of the different clairs. And that's why, to go back to the previous tip, that's why it is important to know how you tend to receive your psychic messages, because whichever clair, for example, clairvoyance, clairseeing, or clairaudience, clear hearing, clairsentience, clear emotions, then whichever one comes strongest to you is going to be the one that's worth tapping into first, because it's going to come the easiest, and then you can go from there and expand your psychic abilities and intuitive knowing a lot faster. If you aren't familiar with what your strongest psychic gifts are, then you may not be aware of how the information is coming through to you. I myself found that clairaudience was really my strongest clair when I first started out. Clairsentience and claircognizance was also right behind that, but as soon as I really started to tap into clairaudience and improve that, all of the other ones just started kind of flooding in. But sometimes I will kind of start by first listening for any information that comes through to me as a voice, and then from there I'll start to see images, I'll start to have feelings, and an inner knowing as well will kind of just rush in all at once. But you'll find that as soon as you kind of hone in on the ones that you are strongest in, then the rest are easy to kind of tap into as well. So my tip would definitely be learn as much as you can about your psychic abilities and which ones come the most naturally to you. This is going to just make it a lot easier for you to become aware of your intuition and the messages that are coming through with the cards. Number 4 is trust your instincts. A lot of times our intuition is working perfectly well, but our own doubts and insecurities can step in and cause us to just miss those messages completely. When it comes to reading tarot or using your psychic abilities, usually your first instinct is the right one. You also don't have to fill in all of the details in order to provide a really good message or reading for somebody. Sometimes your mind kind of gets in the way of the details and may muck up the messages a little bit. So instead, I recommend first taking a broader approach and looking for the overall energy first and getting really confident in that. So if you get a pit in your stomach right away, then describe this energy. If you feel lightheaded, then this person might need some grounding, but start with your first instincts and learn to trust those. Also, when you're tapping into somebody's energy and you start broad and then you share some of those feelings or initial impressions, you may actually get the other person to kind of open up a little bit more, and you then start to connect with their energy even more easily. So that can also allow for a flood of further details to just come and rush in for you. Trusting your instincts is really important to practice outside of reading tarot too. Learning to trust in your inner compass is a major part of the spiritual path. We must still be very discerning in order to kind of differentiate between trusting in our intuition versus being kind of swept up in old patterns. Tip number 5 is ask for help. Whenever I'm doing a reading and I feel stuck, maybe I'm just not connecting with the tarot cards in that moment, or I'm a little bit confused by what message they're trying to relay to me. Maybe it's a different way that they're trying to show me that information. I will ask the cards directly to tell me what I'm missing. Sometimes when we're doing a reading, we can feel really alone in the reading and in trying to understand the messages. And somehow we feel like these profound messages have to come from just us, our individual selves. So that's really putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to find some great layered deep meaning in the cards in front of us. But you can always ask the cards or your guides, God, Goddess, the Spirit, however you want to reach out. You can ask for additional help during the reading. Allow them to step in and just help you to gain more clarity. This could mean you pull a clarifying card even, and that might instantly help all of the messages kind of come together and make more sense. It might also mean pausing, taking a deep breath, and then waiting for the next message to come to you. If we're searching really hard for the answer, we may actually be pushing it further away. Instead, you want to just pause, take a breath, create that space within, and then ask for clarity. I often will end my readings by asking within myself, is there anything I've missed? Then I might get the instinct to pick up another deck of tarot cards or oracle cards and shuffle, or I may just see a completely different message come through with the cards that I've already laid out. And when you get that final message and you know that you finally got the profound message that you were looking for, or the guidance that was really truly needed to be passed on, you may find, and this is what happens to me, but you may find that you get chills all over your body, or you just feel this sense of inner relief that you finally kind of completed the reading. This is how I know that I've really gotten a full understanding behind the messages intuitively. So I probably could come up with so many tips for how to read tarot cards intuitively, but I'm just going to end on this last tip, number 6. And that tip is to have faith and trust. So sometimes the one thing holding us back is the disbelief that we're able to do something. This is especially true when it comes to reading the tarot cards intuitively. If we are fearful that we're not going to be able to fully receive the message, or if maybe we're nervous we're going to let somebody down or get it wrong, then this kind of fear can be a blockage to being able to tap into our intuition. For example, if you pull the cards and your first initial reaction is just they don't make any sense, or it just doesn't seem, like they connect, our initial thought might be, how am I ever going to read these cards? And we may kind of lose trust in ourselves and in our inner guidance. So I just wanted this tip to be all about knowing that it's okay if the meanings of the cards don't make sense right away, and to not lose hope or faith that the answers will come to you. The reason that something might not make sense right away could be that the cards are trying to challenge you and show you something from a different angle and different perspective. It might also be a less obvious answer to a question than you expected, which is probably the exact thing that individual reading those cards is needing to hear in that moment. I do find that my cards will challenge me to go deeper from time to time, which can be more difficult to read and understand those cards. But really, they just want to help me progress in my abilities, and they want to help us, learn new ways and new perceptions of how deep the understanding of these cards can really go. In my 20 plus years of experience reading tarot, I just find that the further you go down this spiritual journey, the more transformative these messages truly become. And I've also found that no matter how confusing the messages may seem at first, or even if they don't seem to make sense, I have always found that the cards know what they're talking about. And most likely it's more so that we are blocked from their true information, from what their true meaning is, versus that the cards themselves are wrong. Maybe it does take some time for that meaning to become completely clear, or for us to understand what the cards meant. But either way, I have found that the cards are pretty much always accurate. Before starting your reading, I recommend setting faith as part of your intention and practice going back to that affirmation throughout the reading. If you are struggling to find answers, take a moment and just say, it may not be clear right now, but I will receive all of the messages intended for me by the end of this reading. And then just give your mind some room to let in additional guidance. Again, you may want to take a conscious, deep breath and pause for a moment and just allow some space for that additional guidance to come in. You can continue to ask for clarity and maybe even for further clarification on certain energy that comes up in a reading. And sometimes just the act of shuffling the cards can bring you back into a state of meditation, and that will allow you to pick up on some more messages. I find, if my hands are busy shuffling the cards, I'm able to tap into my intuitive self even more easily. So a card may not even come out as I'm shuffling, but I may just get more messages on the cards that I'm already looking at, or even just internal guidance in general. And messages will come up just because I'm shuffling the cards, and it kind of acts as a meditation and a way to kind of give the reading some space. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope these tips were helpful to you in getting started on trusting in your intuition at an even deeper level and improving your tarot reading skills. If you did enjoy this type of video, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you are practicing tarot and how long you've been reading tarot for. And if you are new to tarot, let me know if this video was helpful for you. I'd love to also hear any tips that you've learned along your tarot journey and that you have found helpful in order to tap into your intuition while reading tarot. That's going to do it for this video. I hope to see you guys back again soon. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and subscribe if you have not done so already, but you are enjoying these messages and my videos. I hope to see you back again soon, but bye for now.